Gorgeous Monday night for baseball. Petco Park, and the boys are finally back in town. Padres baseball from the ball yard in San Diego, getting ready for first pitch. Should be one heck of a matchup as the Padres prepare to take on the Brewers. Everett Cabrera fresh off a .381 streak on the road trip that the Padres split 3 games. The Dodgers they swept, and 3 to the Giants they lost. Looking to right the ship against Ryan Braun, who's having himself a very odd start to the season. More on that in just a couple of moments. This is game 1 of 3 between the Brewers and the Padres. We are moments away from first pitch. Alongside Mark Grant, I'm Mike Pomeranz in tonight for Dick Enberg, and this one sets up to be a really good ball game. Jason Marquis going against Kyle Loesch, and for Marquis, he has been rock solid for the Padres. In fact, since April 14th, the Padres starters, which had been a concern earlier, are pitching very well. Starting pitchers set the tone for a ball game. Chances are 90% of the time your starter pitches well, you win a ball game. And since April 14th, as you mentioned, Mike, look at the company the Padres are keeping, a 3.05 ERA. With a little bit more offense, hoping the Padres can get in the win column. For Marquis, 1-1 with a 2.41 earned run average. He's made some adjustments since spring training. What seems to be working for him, Mark? Well, the changeup in spring training, Mark Sweeney talked about it earlier, and the split finger fastball. But against L.A. going deep, 7 2/3, he had the sinker, he had the slider, a lot of ground balls for Jason Marquis. And this is a guy who can take him deep into the ball game again tonight. They really need to set the tone in this homestand with Jason Marquis towing the slab tonight. Well, he's going to have his hands full. As we mentioned, Ryan Braun's in the lineup. This is a guy who's having a very strange start to his season. Overall, yeah, he's hitting .280. But listen to these numbers. 5 for his last 32, Mark, but 4 of the 5 hits, long balls. And don't let those numbers fool you, because Ryan Braun will crush a mistake. But when Ryan Braun is swinging the bat extremely well, he will hit everything. He'll take an outside pitch, take it the opposite way. He'll turn on a fastball with the best of them. The one thing that Jason Marquis needs to do tonight to contain Ryan Braun and these Brewers, stick to his game, stick to the strength. Almost like he's pitching against the Dodgers last time out, because if he is, the infielders are going to be busy. He's going to get some quick outs against these Brewers. One number you know for sure is in Jason's head right now. That is Ryan Braun in his career against Jason Marquis, 11 for 22. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the folks who've been banged and bruised, including Kyle Blanks, who made a great catch in San Francisco. Kelly Kroll will give us an update on how he feels and whether he's available tonight against Milwaukee.
What a shot Kyle Blanks took yesterday in San Francisco, head on into the outfield wall. His glasses actually cut the top of his left eye. He ended up with a few stitches. I was able to catch up with Kyle today in the clubhouse, and here's how he's feeling.
Better today, so head feels clear, neck's fine, shoulders sore, but I just need to, now I got to see what I can do. So I need to go run and kind of just try and piece a day together. And it felt worse than it looked, quite honestly, but that's just from a first person point of view.
That's our Geico quote of the game. Kyle jokingly after the game yesterday said, man, that's a sturdy wall out there, but still very sore this afternoon. Went through some treatment trying to loosen up that left elbow and back area. He's not in the lineup tonight, but did say he felt better than a day ago. Coming up, Jason Marquis takes the mound. He will try to go long and deep once again tonight against the Brewers. We will see you after the break.
Jack in the Box. The Chipotle Chicken Club combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. By Petco, where the healthy pets go. By Farmers Insurance. Contact your local agent at 888-96-FARMERS. And by GMC. We are professional grade. Gorgeous night for baseball here in San Diego. This is game 1 of 3 between the Padres and the Brewers. Just moments away from first pitch, and the Brewers are coming in on a heck of a streak. Red hot. Ron Renneke and his team now riding a 7-game burn. How big a deal is that? Well, with their win yesterday, Brewers becoming the first team in Major League history to start 2-8 and then go over the 500 mark by winning the next 7 games. So for Renneke, now in his 3rd season, he is a house on fire. And for Ron Renneke, here's who he's going to send to the starting lineup. It'll be Gene Segura at shortstop. Ricky Weeks will bat second and play second. Ryan Braun in left field. Jonathan Lucroy will catch. Logan Schaefer, then Carlos Gomez. Yuniesky Betancourt, Alex Gonzalez, and the pitcher, Kyle Loesch, courtesy of Hyundai. On the mound tonight for the Padres, it'll be Jason Marquis.
And these Brewers like to swing the bats, and Jason Marquis doing his diligent work. His scouting report is this: going old school. ground balls. Hey, it worked against the Dodgers, and Darren Balsey says if he can stay on top of the baseball and work the grounder, he is going to have some success. These guys like to swing the bat aggressively. They've got some pop in their lineup. It's going to be interesting to see how they pitch to Ryan Braun, because I'll tell you what, they're not going to let Ryan Braun beat them.
Well, Ryan Braun's had an interesting tale to tell this season. Really been somebody that the league's kept its eye on all for, five-time All-Star. You know that's not new to them, but he's 11 for 22 against Marquee. And as we talked about in the Open, Braun, 5 for his last 32. 4 of the 5, though, long balls.
And he knows that. Jason Marquee knows the numbers. Ryan Braun knows the numbers as well. Hitters and pitchers have their book, and, they'll let you know. They'll let you know when they're in that book.
Well, Jason Marquee is in the groove. He is 1-1 with that 2.41 earn run average. Here is a look at your defense for the Padres, courtesy of Aramco Mortgage. It'll be Kotze in left, Will Venable in center, Chris Denorfia in right, Headley, Cabrera, Jerko, and Alonso around the horn. Nick Hundley will catch, and Jason Marquee, as we mentioned, is your starting pitcher. Mark Kotze getting the nod there in left field. As you may have heard, Kyle Blank's a little nicked up yesterday at AT&T Park against San Francisco, and Kotz getting a look against Kyle Loach.
Nice report from Kelly Kroll before the game about Kyle Blank's getting like 3 or 4 stitches. Well, the wall in left field in San Francisco spent the night in the hospital getting observed. That wall took a beating too.
Oh, I bet.
I was more concerned about the wall than Kyle Blank's.
There was no flex in that at all. We explained to us concrete behind just a little bit of pad. It'll be Gene Segura leading things off for the Brewers against Marquee. Segura takes the first pitch for a strike. Segura came over to Milwaukee, part of that Zank Greinke trade, and Greinke, as you know, with the Dodgers now. Segura flares the second pitch he sees into center field for a base hit. Get the Brewers started early.
Well, Jason Marquee knows that when his sinker is up in the zone, it's going to flatten out a little bit. And Segura at the leadoff position does a nice job. Looks like a big swing, kind of shortens up. It takes that ball right up the center of the diamond. Now, when you look at the power numbers for this Brewer team, they're ranked 7th, so kind of middle of the pack as far as home runs are concerned. But this is a team, Mike, that can turn on you in a minute. They can put the power hurting on you quickly.
Ron Renicky hoping that Ricky Weeks finds his power stroke, and we're hoping it's not for at least a few days as he takes the first pitch. Keep an eye on Segura. He will run. Leads the team in stolen bases with 4. Sometimes a bit of an adventure for him out there.
Yeah.
Just 23 years old. He's learning the game at the big league level.
Hey, and more experience. He's going to get more comfortable out there and knowing the rules and knowing what he can and can't do. And
Marquee falls behind Weeks. 2-0. Should be interesting to see the way Jason works to Ricky Weeks, who again has started off slowly, hitting a $182 to start this year. He was slow to start last year before finishing at a .230 average, but really seems to have a lot of trouble right now. For some reason, April, May give Weeks a lot of trouble. So here's the 2-0 from Marquee.
Kind of yanking that last fastball. And if there's anybody who's going to get upset with himself, it's Jason Marquee. You can see his body language there, but he's been around the block quite a few times, and he can just find the adjustment the next pitch. He needs to make a good pitch here. Probably the take, but you know what? Ricky Weeks up there in this team, hey, just because it's 3-0, if you lay it in there, they might be hacking. Two-seamer for a strike, taking a little bit off.
Well, Weeks told his manager that he wanted to try to hit himself out of this slump if he could. He hasn't missed a game, but there's probably an inside the clubhouse rationale to that, because a lot of managers would probably sit a fellow who is struggling this much, but Ricky apparently has his trust and wants to try to play through it.
I think the key to try to coming out of a slump is try not to do too much. See if Ricky Weeks tries to take Marquee the opposite way.
The bouncer to Cabrera. Nice flip over to Jerko at second. They'll only get 1. And Weeks will reach on the fielder's choice.
Great range by Everett Cabrera. And that is not an easy play, folks. Going to his right. He's got to put some hair on this throw to second base because Segura runs well. One swift move to the glove, and look at that. I mean, that's some fuzz on that throw to second base with his momentum going all the way towards the third base line. And not only that, but the accuracy. A great throw to get the force out at second base.
There has never been a knock that I'm aware of on Everett Cabrera's athleticism. Consistency, I think every player strives for at this level and at any level. And Everett is finding his way. Had himself a nice road trip, hitting .381 and contributing well defensively. So here's Braun, and he shoots the first pitch he sees deep to the gap and gone. Home run, Ryan Braun. The oddity of his season continues. Now 6 hits in his last 33 at-bats, 5 of them home runs.
I don't think I've ever seen a start like this. First pitch, hacking. Two-seamer away. He gets extended. That ball leaks a little bit, may have caught the plate a little bit too much. And like I said, Ryan Braun, he'll pretty much hit anything. That pitch just caught too much of the plate. My goodness.
Just like that, the Brewers are up 2-0. Jonathan Lucroy.
Kind of, you know, he was trying to spot a fastball away. I was thinking maybe that Jason Marquis was going to start him off with a breaking ball first pitch. And boy, he eyed that pitch. Saw the ball well.
Lucroy spins on that one, hooking it foul.
And once again, you hate playing catch up.
Well, you'd mentioned it too in the open. Jason's well aware of the numbers that Braun has against him. 11 of 22. Knows that he is a feast or famine guy right now, and he feasted there clearly. It's an interesting game of cat and mouse.
You could see what Jason was trying to do, get ahead with the fastball away and then work accordingly. But my goodness, when Ryan Braun gets hot, yeah, he can carry a team. Watch him get extended here. Hands back. When that front foot is set, his hands are back in the power position, and he knew he got it. Didn't make it out by much. He knew he got it, though.
I wasn't convinced it was going out.
Yeah.
Outfielders running hard for it.
I guess judging by his actions when that ball left the bat, he thought that he had gotten that one. He's quite a talent.
Braun had a 3-run homer yesterday against the Cubs. That was a difference maker, and then turned out he got ejected.
And just when you think you can get him out of the way with a two-seamer, you try to throw him in, and he'll spin on that. You throw him a breaking ball. If it's a mistake, he'll crush it. And Jason Marquis now has to just delete that and try to get out of this inning and leave it at 2. See, Tiger fans and Padre fans can get along.
One, 2 to Lucroy, fouled away. So Braun with that home run ties Gorman Thomas.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he could rake.
Remember Harvey's Wallbangers back in the early 80s with the.
Did you believe though 4th all time now on the Brewers list?
And he's going to surpass a lot of those guys. Robin Yount's got to be on there, right? I would say Prince Fielder's got to be on it too.
Yep. Yount's top of the list.
Hey, look at there. Boy, Jeff Jenkins, I forgot all about him. Yeah, Ryan Braun is going to he's going to crush 251.
Here's a 2-2 to Lucroy. Jason misses away.
Oh, big pitch right here. The next pitch being 18 for Jason Marquis. Working a deep count to Jonathan Lucroy. Got some autographs on that hat.
And he gets Lucroy. A little sinker slider. That time he goes slider.
Hey, that's a gutsy pitch by Jason Marquis, but what is it? To him, that's his strength, right? Lucroy loves the fastball. Oh, he's way out in front of it. Got him out on his front foot. First strikeout of the night.
Well, Lucroy earned his money right there. It was a 10-pitch at bat for him. We talked about this over the last couple of weeks. The Padres starters really would like to keep that pitch count down a bit if they can. Here's Logan Schaefer.
Well, hopefully Jason Markey can make an adjustment next inning after getting Logan Schaefer here and keep those Brewers at 2. You know, sometimes sinker ballers feel a little bit too strong out of the chute, and they have a tendency to have that ball sink a little bit more when they get a little tired. I'm not saying that's the case for Jason, but it's one of the arguments that I've heard over the years.
You overthrow it, maybe it flattens out.
And it flattens out, right.
Well, that pitch got away from Jason, and Logan Schaefer aboard.
You could see as soon as that ball was on its way to Logan Schaefer, Jason Markey, his reaction was, that's the last thing I want to do. With 2 outs, a 2-run shot off the bat of Ryan Braun and put another base runner on base. Nick Hundley set up inside and he just yanked it right on the thigh, and that's going to leave a mark.
Here's the National League Player of the Week, Carlos Gomez. And he too. This one off the body, and he'll get a free pass. So that's 2 consecutive batters hit by Markey. And Nick Hundley and Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, trot out to talk it over with him a bit.
Jason Markey can't believe it. I don't know whether he's having difficulty with the grip on the baseball. The release point is definitely way off. He's throwing fastballs in the dirt, down and away, sliders, and a quick visit from Darren Balsley. You can see him shaking his head there. No worse feeling than when you can't find that release point.
Markey, prior to tonight, had only hit 1 batter this season in 18 2/3 innings.
You know, I'd bet a dime to donuts right here. He's going to throw him a first pitch breaking ball, maybe a little slider for a strike.
I think he just feels more confident in that.
Well,
pitch
sometimes
right now.
when a pitcher's off with his fastball, they'll to get that release point out in front towards home plate, they'll flip up a breaking ball. Let's see if he does that right here.
2 out, 2 on. Here's Yuneski Betancourt. And Betancourt gets into one, drives this ball deep to left field. Kotsay gives it a look, and it's gone. Three more runs will score. Schaefer and Gomez on ahead of Betancourt, being hit by pitches. And home run number 3 on the year for Yunieski.
Mike, you mentioned it earlier that this Brewer team, they started off 2-8, and then they rattled off wins to go above 500, and it's been the bottom of the order that's been really paying the dividends for these Brewers. Hitters like Gomez, like Betancourt, Alex Gonzalez. You know, you have to worry about Braun in the number 3 spot, but then with this team recently, the Brewers, you have to worry about the bottom of the order, and they're crushing some mistakes. There's a breaking ball.
Alex Gonzalez. 128.
Oy vey.
Yeah. It's a tough start for Jason as he tries to right himself. Both pitches, Mark. Both home runs, rather, hit out on first pitches. Maybe they know.
They love to swing the bat.
Sure.
I mean, if they're seeing the ball well out of the hand, why wait deep in the count? Why wait and get behind 0-1?
Flips this one to Alonso, and that will do it for Milwaukee, but not before Ryan Braun lays into one. And so does Yuneski Betancourt. 5-0. Padres due up. a home run in the first, a 2-run shot. And then Yuniesky Betancourt would follow a 3-run shot. And that's where we stand as the Padres are due up. Here, a look at your Padres as they'll go to bat here. Brought to you by Toyota. It'll be Everth Cabrera, Will Venable, Chase Headley, Yonder Alonso, Mark Kotze, Kristen Orfia, Jed Jerko, Nick Hundley, and Jason Marquis.
And Kyle Loesch, the right-hander, a great acquisition for the Milwaukee Brewers. You know, one of the things, he'll find your weakness as a hitter. He'll find a hole and he'll go right there. He's got 3 types of fastballs: the sinker, the sinker, the four-seamer, and the cut fastball. And not a lot of walks for Kyle Loesch. He's very poised on the mound. He's come a long way in his big league career. Threw a lot harder when he was younger. But he's quite the pitcher right now.
He's figured it out. Everth Cabrera will lead things off for San Diego. Got to start chipping away and early. Cabrera takes the first pitch he sees for a strike. 313 on the year, but a nice road trip between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Hit 381. Kelly Crow, Mark Grant, Mike Pomeranz in for Dick Enberg tonight. Thanks for enjoying a little bit of baseball. We hope is going to turn in the Padres' favor here quickly as they face Kyle Loesch.
Well, that's the thing that the Padres can do right now. Try to work the count 3-1. Take your chances that way. Lay off the pitches down in the zone. Hopefully work a walk, and then you get an extra base hit and get right back in this thing, hopefully.
3-1 to Cabrera. Now full. Well, Loesch is some story. Doesn't sign till late in spring training. And it's like he didn't miss a beat.
That tells you something about him, huh? Keep it in shape, keep throwing. You know somebody was going to sign him.
So Cabrera will draw a walk, get things going for San Diego. And here's a look at your Farmers Insurance game plan.
Yeah, hey, try to get at least 1 run this inning. Chip away. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge. We all know the track record of Kyle Loesch and what the Brewers did in the first inning. Got some speed aboard Cabrera, drew a walk, and that's uncharacteristic of Kyle Loesch.
It's only the 2nd walk of the year allowed by Loesch. Well, Venable swings to the first pitch. Will's enjoyed a little bit of success against Loesch, 4 for 8.
He's my pick.
You want to go there this early?
Yeah.
About a 2-run shot. That'll help you out.
Hey, just get on base right now.
Loesch was 16-3 last year with St. Louis. A 2.86 earned run average. Signs himself a 3-year deal now with Milwaukee. Is the 0-1 to Venable.
Well, backdoor slider right there from Kyle Loesch. You know, the Brewers, since they signed Kyle Loesch, they're going to lose the 17th pick of the first round. So that's the compensation there. But Kyle Loesch is, you know, he's a guy that's going to be in the rotation for a long time. He's poised, he's confident. And as I said earlier, he threw harder earlier in his career. So he's learned how to become a pitcher.
Read an interesting article in the Milwaukee paper today about Loesch. And we talk a lot about how pitchers are trying to divide the plate into thirds or the strike zone into quadrants. And Loesch's philosophy, he said, I'm less concerned about location. I'm more concerned about changing speeds and trying to fool the hitter and disrupt their timing.
That's a good point. It's almost like describing the changeup, right? The changeup, a good changeup can be thrown right down the middle of the plate. But taking a little bit off is going to throw the timing off of the hitter. I can see where he's going with that.
A look there at Mark Antanasio, the chairman, principal owner of the Brewers. chance for anybody to come out here and enjoy a little San Diego weather's never bad.
I heard the roof was closed in Milwaukee there when the Giants were there. Had a lot of rain, but you know you're going to play there. Hey, the old days County Stadium, rain delays, bad yard, bad field. Not Miller Park, you know they've got the roof. We don't have to worry about a roof here. Our roof is blue skies.
Gorgeous every night. 1-2 to Venable with an out. That'll even the count.
You know, when Kyle Loesch is on his game, Mike, you're going to maybe get one good pitch in that bat to crush or put a good swing on it. The last thing that Loesch wants to do is back-to-back walks. Let's see what he does here. And he's the type of pitcher, too, that will pitch backwards. In a fastball count, he'll pull the string.
The throw down from Lucroy is not going to get him. And Everett Cabrera has stolen his 6th base of the season.
You know, that was a fastball. That was a fastball from Loesch. Pretty good pitch to handle for Lucroy. Just kind of leaked a little bit, worked underneath it. Slap tag by Segura. Stay glued to that bag. Look at that change up, 3-2, first base open. That's what you're going to get from Kyle Loesch. He's not going to throw a fastball, and Will just gets a part of it to stay alive.
Had a chance to see a lot of Loesch when he spent his early years in Minnesota, and as you said, they're big, hard-throwing right-hander, and it takes guys a little while to learn how to pitch at this level, and he clearly has figured it out. Full count, nobody out.
Another changeup, back-to-back changeups.
This is the cat and mouse game that I think a lot of fans learn to enjoy. You get a veteran pitcher, very experienced, has a chance right here to mix it up. Will Venable trying to outthink him. I love the way this sets up.
Well, Will Venable's got to think short and quick to the baseball. He's thrown 2 changeups in a row. Does he throw him a third? Fastball, and hey, that's good recognition. This is a good at-bat by Will Venable. And as you took a look at the Fox tracks brought to you by my good friends at Southland, look at nothing, everything's like right at the knees and below.
Be the 10th pitch of the at-bat.
Let's see another changeup here.
Venable drives this ball to left field. Back goes Braun. Cabby will tag. And he'll pull into third base and then come off the bag. And Bruce Dreckman says, "You're out." What looked like an opportunity there to at least advance a runner now becomes a double play.
Well, that's the one thing I don't like about the head first slide. He goes in, he can't stop. Does he come? He most certainly does come off the bag. You know what? That's a great call by third base umpire Bruce Dreckman. You know what the key there is? Did you see Gonzalez?
Stayed with the tag.
He put the tag on Everett, and he kept it there, kept it there, kept it there. His feet came off the bag. That's the right call. Nice throw by Ryan Braun as well. The one hopper.
So here's Chase Headley. Looked like he'd have a chance with a man on third, one out. Now he's nobody on.
You know, that too. I look at that play right there. Really not. You know, with 2 outs, you got Chase Headley coming up, runner at second. He's going to score on a base hit.
Brewers will pull everybody over to the right field side, and Headley cooperates, bounces this one to first base, and Betancourt will take it himself, retire this side. So after 1, the Brewers still lead 5-0. face Jason Marquis. Hey, fans, this season the Padres are proud to offer first responders recognition pricing. That means members of the first responders community can get $6 off available tickets priced $14 or higher. Some restrictions may apply, so go ahead and visit the Petco Park box office, and it's there where you can grab all of the details. Marquis quickly ahead of his mound opponent, Kyle Loesch, 0-2.
Oh, and even though it's the pitcher up at the plate, let's see if Jason Marquis makes an adjustment. Quickly ahead 0-2. Need a quick out here. Yes, he did.
Loesch doesn't seem overly concerned. A very delayed reaction.
By his body language, it was almost like he was expecting another strike. There's 3 in this league, right?
You sure that was 3 already? Kyle Loesch goes down. Gene Segura singled to the first. But Segura had a base running play that we're going to talk about a little later in the game. Hope you'll stick around for it. It's a clinic, really. Segura will bounce this one to Cabrera. 2 down. Ron Renicky said today that Segura, a talented guy, as we mentioned, just 23 years old, but as young players can often do, can give you some fits. You got to take the good with the bad. Here is your Daycation stat of the day. The strikeout leaders, most strikeouts by batters so far. Ricky Weeks, 24 punch-outs this early season.
And when that happens to a hitter, you'll see a lot of hitters swinging early in the count because they want to try to avoid the strikeout. A good first pitch strike right there by Jason Marquis.
Did not want to sit. Told his manager he wanted in the lineup, hoping he can hit himself out of it.
And you would think, you know, as a hitter, you got Ryan Braun waiting on deck. You get some good pitches to hit. And hey, that's a great place to be in, the number 2 spot. I got Ryan Braun hitting behind me.
Here's some of the writers in the dinner dining room today saying, you know what, maybe you just start Weeks at the All-Star break. Because his first halves have been so
right. Isn't that amazing?
Tough.
How some guys are you can just write it down each and every year. Perennial slow starters.
And Marquis will carve him up. And Weeks' struggles continue. That'll do it for the Brewers in the second. Yonder Alonso, Morkatse coming back. will lead things off against Kyle Loesch as you take a look at tonight's Brewers defense, brought to you by Hyundai. It'll be Braun, Gomez, and Schaefer across the outfield. Gonzalez, Segura, Weeks, Betancourt around the horn. Lucroy will catch. Kyle Loesch is your pitcher. And here's something different. The bunt by Alonso takes the whole world by surprise. Alex Gonzalez, nothing he can do but pick it up, and Yonder Alonso is aboard with a bunt base hit.
Any way you can get on base? Padres need multiple base runners. Hey, why not? If he's playing back that way, I tell you what, he couldn't have placed it any better. Great technique, bunting the top half of the ball. Gonzalez says, I'll give you that one.
Hey, the Padres haven't scored in 21 innings coming into this one. Yeah, get it started. The 4-hole hitter lays down a bunt. And Marcotte will roll this one over to second. They'll go to short for one. And just like that, the bunt single is erased. No one on now and 2 out.
Sharply hit ball. Looks like Mark may have been out a little bit in front of that one. Boy, that ball hits the lip of the grass. It takes a funny hop. Ricky Weeks, he took that one right in the chest, stayed in front of it to make the turn.
Weeks checking his offense right now at the door, but still able to provide a little defense.
Good point.
Here's Kristen Orfia hitting .346 on the year. Dino had a 9-game hitting streak earlier this season and pretty much done everything Buddy Black and the staff have asked him to do.
This guy will run through a brick wall for you. He's using the whole field, knows his limitations. You know, he'll crush a mistake once in a while, but he's not up there trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, especially in this situation. You can't hit last I checked, you can't hit a 5-run home run, can you? So he's just trying to get on base. Sure, it's going to be tough. Kyle Loesch, if he finds that groove, it's going to be tough to try to get back.
Whole different mindset, I'm sure, for a major league pitcher when you're staked to a 5-0 lead right out of the gate before you even throw a pitch. So 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs.
What's that tell you about Loesch? 2-1 fastball count. He flips up a breaking ball for a strike with a 5-0 lead. He's not going to just throw it down the middle.
Disrupting the timing, he says. Can't argue with his results. You know, nice and patient, works the count full. Everett Cabrera walked earlier. That's the second walk of the season issued by Loesch. And Denorfia finds the right side. Gives himself a single.
He just mentioned it. Chris Denorfia, yeah, when he sees the ball well, he's going to use the whole field. A lot of his hits go the opposite way. Not going to try to do too much. He realizes they're down 5-0. Ricky Weeks playing him up the center of the diamond just a little bit, and he singles to right field. Nice, short, quick stroke going the opposite way.
He's got a chip away, so with 2 outs, it'll bring up the rookie, Jed Jerko.
And believe me, Jed Jerko is going to be in the ear of all the veteran guys. Hey, what's this guy got? Sure, he's looking at video, but it's always good to talk to the guys who have hit against Kyle Loesch just to get an idea. Here's a guy who's got to start using the whole field, right?
Skies this one to the infield. Weeks under it. And that's the side for the Padres. Moving to the Brewers half of the inning. Ryan Braun will lead it off. The reason why. Ryan Braun, a 2-run shot in the first. And it was barely gone, but it counts.
Yeah, with the two-seam fastball away, it just caught too much of the plate. Jason Marquis wanted to start off the plate, maybe catch it outside corner. And he got extended. You know, you look at the numbers for Jason Marquis, and believe me, you know, Ryan Braun comes to the ballpark and he knows that he hits well against Jason Marquis, and Jason knows that as well.
Braun with 11 for 22 against Marquis coming into this one.
You think he likes hitting here? Coming to the West Coast, 316 average here at Petco Park. You know, an 8-year pro. He's hit 300 all but 2 years in his professional career. Once an A ball, he had 274. First full year in Milwaukee at 285. Other than that, this kid's a 313 career hitter in the big leagues. Mark it down, 30+ home runs, over 100 RBIs each and every year.
MVP, 5-time All-Star. 2-2 to Braun.
Sliders down and away.
And this time Jason wins.
There was one mistake in that at-bat that Ryan Braun could have crushed, and it was a slider. It was up. It was the middle of the plate. But he's got him reaching for it. Ahead in the count. Down and away with the slider. And that's an adjustment for Jason Marquis.
I think you and Mark Sweeney talk about it all the time, how it's such a game of delicate adjustments oftentimes, too. You don't necessarily have to make major adjustments, but you've got to tweak your game to stay at this level. And Jason's done that. Obviously, Ryan Braun's done that, but it's not easy to do.
Hey, he's going to punch out, too. I mean, let's face it. The guy doesn't walk on water. He pretty much hits everything. But he can still get him out. Look at the sliders. Looks like out of the hands of a fastball, but LaCroix's thinking the same thing.
LaCroix punched out his first time up in the first, following that Braun home run. Tries to get him fishing down there. Mark Sweeney is down near the dugout. Mark, we saw the Brewers just get off to a rip-roaring start, and Jason's clearly trying to make some adjustments here.
Yeah, no, Mike, and the adjustments, I think Jason Marquis with a sinker slider can definitely make those adjustments and keep this team in a chance. The challenge is, and Mark can tell you this too, the challenge for a pitcher giving up runs early in the game is limiting the rest of the game and trying to shut them out the rest of the time he's in there.
Yeah, you got to go out there and throw up zeros, and that's a challenge against this Brewer team. And we just saw a fastball that missed inside.
Keep in mind, if you're just joining us, Marquis uncharacteristically hit 2 batters in the first inning. This ball bounced to Headley. 2 down.
Looks like right now, Mark Sweeney, that Jason's got a little bit better feel for his slider than he does his fastball.
Yeah, and I think he has elements when you don't have your stuff, is being able to mix and match different pitches to try to challenge these guys. I think Jason has really taught himself. He doesn't have that fastball command. He can go to that slider, change-up mix.
Do you still then, Mark, as a hitter, work off the fastball when you know the guy's struggling with his command?
Yeah, you just try to center the plate, Mike, and understanding, too, that you got to, he doesn't have his stuff.
Ball nubbed out to Marquis. And Logan Schaefer is the third out of the inning. So the Brewers go quietly in the third. Padres coming up.
AT Twitter poll question: which of the following 5 hitters do you think is most feared? We might be splitting hairs here. So if you fear Ryan Braun, it's hashtag fear Braun. Albert Pujols, fear Pujols with the hashtag. Miguel Cabrera, Mike Trout, and Bryce Harper. Remember, use that hashtag and then fear whatever player. I'll tell you what. Man.
Does tonight count?
Tonight.
Can I take tonight out of the fold?
We'll give you the results later in the game.
Here's Nick Hundley to lead things off. Nick hitting at 320. And against Kyle Loesch, this guy's a 500 hitter. All right, he's 1 for 2. It's a home run, though.
Yeah. Well, Mark Sweeney down by the dugout. I mean, that's a fearsome 5-some we talked about. Who would you fear? Do you have anybody that comes to mind?
Well, you always fear the man in the middle, and Cabrera. You have to go with him. Miguel Cabrera coming off the Triple Crown.
Oh, there's Nick Hundley just yanks a long strike.
How about you, left-hander, Pomerantz? You're out on the hill?
You know what? Well, I'm here with makeup on because they're all strike fear to my heart. Are you kidding me? There's not a guy in that list I'd want to face. I mean, Brody, Pujols. I got to agree with Sweens, though. Cabrera, Triple Crown year. I mean, he's got to get the nod. Trout and Harper, as you have said before, I mean, they're the face of the game going forward.
Mud, who would you hang a breaking ball to out of the 5?
Well, I could do the best with finding the middle of the plate on a breaking ball, you betcha. But, you know, I'd have to agree with you as far as Miggy. But, man,
Murderer's Row.
Yeah.
So Hundley off to a pretty nice start. 2 for 3 yesterday. Mark, you get a chance to watch him make adjustments, and I think it's just fascinating the way he's been able to relax. What are you saying?
Yeah, I think it's a relaxed stance. He's more athletic than we talked about earlier in the season. But he's also made an adjustment with his hands. And if you look at his hands from the side, he presses them forward to start. And then when he loads up, that bat doesn't get wrapped behind his head. I think it's helping him with that shorter path to the baseball. But Nick has done some nice adjustments from spring training onto the season.
There's your one pitch of the at-bat. It looked like it was a fastball. Only at 90, though, but up and away to where he couldn't get hurt.
Tough pitch to catch up with.
Let's take a look at the hands that Mark Sweeney was talking about. The barrel of the bat is down. Looks in a relaxed position. Can't square it up.
But his confidence has to be much improved from his struggles a year ago. Here's Jason Marquis and looks at the first pitch, drives it back up the middle for a base hit. Leave it to Jason Marquis, one of the best hitting pitchers in baseball, to try to jumpstart the offense. He surrendered 5, and he's trying to get something going here, Mark.
Well, not only does he want to put up zeros the rest of the way, but Eric Stoltz singled yesterday in San Francisco in the 5th inning. So you think Jason Marquis wants to keep pace with Eric Stoltz, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, you heard the interview that you at home may not have had a chance to hear it, but Mark Grant talked to both Stoltz and Marquis, and they were quick to give each other credit. But bottom line is, Jason Marquis has a Silver Slugger Award in his house, and he's a .281 career hitter. Here's Everth Cabrera. Walked and stole a base in the first, but then got doubled off on a long fly ball to Braun in left field. One on, one out.
You know, Mark Sweeney, this is a part of the game where 5-0, you're trailing, and this is where it's between the ears and you can't give away at bats. And this is what, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is when it gets emotionally draining, not only physically draining for a hitter, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. And understanding, too, the messages are definitely being sent. But when you're struggling offensively, very difficult game, you have to really hunker down and say, I'm going to not give at-bats away, much like you talked about. And I have to really grind it out. And you're going to get out of it. The numbers don't lie. They're going to come out of this funk that they're in. But very difficult mentally when you're struggling as a team.
Loesch quickly ahead of Cabrera, 0-2.
You know, there's one guy in my career watching baseball that never gave away an at-bat. It was Keith Hernandez. The score could be 10-0, and Keith down. His team is down, whether he was with the Mets or the Cardinals. And he just never gave away an at-bat. It was like the winning run was on second base, and he wanted to drive him in. And that's the mentality these guys have to take, and it's tough at times.
And that'll do it for Cabrera as he swings through strike 3. And Will Venable come next.
It's one of those pitches out of the hand. Yeah, it looks fat. It looks inviting, but you get to the point of no return on that swing. Just hoping to maybe just foul it off to get another crack at it. Then he goes down swinging.
So with 2 outs, here's Will Venable. Flew out to left field in the first. And Mark Sweeney, I know Will's been making adjustments really the bulk of his career. And he's at a point now where his own expectations are high.
Yeah, and you don't want to change. For Will Venable, change is not good. He's constantly tried to tinker throughout his whole career.
And he swings at the 1-0, drives this ball deep to center field. Carlos Gomez will put it away. And that'll do it for the Padres in their half of the third. Top of the fourth, the man who caught the ball is going to lead off. Five 0 Brewers in the top of the fourth inning. Hey fans, join your Padres Sunday, April 28th, as they honor the men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard with U.S. Coast Guard Appreciation Day. It's presented by USAA. Enjoy a special pregame ceremony before your Padres take the field against the Giants. That is a 1:10 first pitch. So get your tickets today at Padres.com or go ahead and call 619-795-5555. That's U.S. Coast Guard Day, April 28th. Hope you'll come on out to the park and enjoy it with us.
It's the biggest piece of cheese out there, isn't it? The Moon, big piece of Limburger.
Blue queso, once in a blue. You never know.
That's right.
Things going here maybe in the home half of the
Well, one thing that's
fourth.
for sure, Mike, is Jason Marquis has found the release point on that slider. How about a sinker away right here? A lot of movement on that pitch.
Facing Carlos Gomez, National League Player of the Week. 9 hits. He's taken a little while to get his young career going, but he just lays into this one down the left field line. Nothing but a long strike.
Strike one.
That's all it is.
But what was the pitch? Pitch looked like it was a hanging breaking ball. And third base coach, take a look. Ed Cedar is saying something to the third base umpire. And now Ron Renicky is out there to have a chat. Take a look at this ball. See if it changes direction. That hit left of the. Looks like it hit left of the foul pole. That is actually the corner of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Kind of tough to tell to where that ball changed direction.
Very difficult read. I mean, the umpires right now not reviewing it, just taking one look at it. It's a tough read.
Straight.
Does it clip the pole at all, Mark? Can you tell?
You know, it's so hard to tell because see where the dot is right there on company? See, and I lose track. The ball is right there now, but I lose track of it, and it's kind of tough to tell where that ball actually changes direction.
As the umpires talk it over. Mark Sweeney, I know your vantage point maybe not perfect, but you've got a different view than ours. What do you think?
Well, I'd love to say I put my goggles on and took a look at that. It looked like it actually hit the period in Supply Company.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to see. You know, I mean, when you get up to there, you got so many different colors, and you're looking at that fair pole, I like to call it.
You'd be right.
You know, there's a lot going on there. I mean, that ball is traveling at a speed to where it's tough to.
Well, no damage done at the end of the day.
No challenge flag thrown, right?
No. Kept it in his waistband.
Hey, the umpires got together and they talked about it, and they agreed with the third base umpire, Bruce Dreckman. Okay, now is this the mark right there?
Or is it that little white fleck on the pole?
Or that right there?
Yeah.
Oh. Right there.
Hey, don't bring it up.
Well, I can't do anything about it now. So hang with them.
That's right.
Hey, just speculating, right?
You're a high-stakes player. Push your chips to the center of the table. So Gomez will draw a walk. As Yuniesky Betancourt come to bat. And last time he was up, first inning, two guys ahead of him were hit by pitches, and Betancourt made Marquis and the Padres pay.
Yeah, and Jason Marquis realized that he cannot afford to throw the pitch up and elevate like that to Betancourt. You got to make an adjustment and hit that pitch down, get that pitch down. First pitch breaking ball for a strike.
Marquis will keep an eye on Gomez at first. Gomez can go get him in center field. He can run a bit too. As Betancourt stands in 3 home runs now, if you include the one he hit in the first. Nobody out. Gomez is off with the pitch. His ball bounced to Headley. And it'll move Gomez over. Betancourt is the first out of the inning.
You know, on that particular play, Chase Headley's got to come in a little bit, right? Well, with that runner going at first base, he is circling second base. That's where the shortstop, Everett Cabrera, really has to hightail it over. He was on his way over to third base to cover because Chase Headley was out of the play, away from the bag. Just in case Carlos Gomez thinks about turning it on, Mike, and going to third base, somebody's got to be there because Headley was out of the play.
So with one out, here's Alex Gonzalez. Take the first pitch in there for a strike.
Even though that's a first pitch strike, that's not where Jason Marquis wanted it.
Mark Sweeney, these guys have been hacking now 15 home runs in the last 8 games.
Well, I think a lot of that, Mike, has to come when you play at Miller Park.
A roller to Cabrera, and he will go to try to get Gomez. Wow. But remember, you need to tag him there.
Yeah, you get the out at first. You've got 2 outs. He rushes that. There's a chance you could throw it away. The runner was going back to back. That's just Everett Cabrera trying to be a little bit too froggy there. Trying to do too much. You're right, Mike. That's the point. That is not a force play. You got to tag him there. Get the out at first base. Now you've got 2 outs. And that's how big innings are created.
Guys, credit Jed Jerko on a play like that. He was out of position to take that throw at second base, but nice job getting the out at first base. Very impressive, especially that hard throw by Cabrera.
You know, Mark, we've seen that. We've seen Jed Jerko take some bad throws at second base and adjust very well. And we saw it in spring training as well, guys, where he's good on the turn at second base.
Well, Glenn Hoffman had said he'd been working on his footwork. I mean, they told him all winter, work out at second base. It's not much of a likelihood you'll play third. Of course, them not knowing that Chase Headley would go down in spring training. And so Jed has had to bounce around a little bit. But he's done a wonderful job over there, as you said, handling himself around the bag.
So that's the 6-4-3 non-double play, right?
Absolutely. Scored at home. So with 2 outs, here's a pitcher, Kyle Loesch.
That could have had disaster written all over it. He airmails that into to right field. You've got second and third possibly.
Run, rabbit, run at that point.
1 out.
Oh, my. Nice snag. Chase Headley. Get him out of the inning, young man. That will do it for the Brewers in the 4th. And, of course, the guy who makes the great play is the guy who's going to lead off. Chase Headley up next.
Off this inning will be Chase Headley, who I spoke to earlier this afternoon. Really looking forward to this series against the Brewers because he said he gets to face 3 right-handed pitchers. Of course, Loesch tonight, you got Gallardo, and then Estrada on Wednesday evening. And he said for him, being a switch hitter, that's the one thing that's been hard getting back into things, is that he hasn't gotten a lot of consistent at-bats from the same side of the plate. So this series will allow that for him, and I'm sure you guys can understand that, right? Getting back into it and seeing consistent at-bats.
Yeah, I think every player, even at the high school level, right, Mark? You need to get into a groove. You've got to find some rhythm. And Chase Headley said the same thing before. He said, some days I've played 50, 60 straight games, take one day off and come back, and it's like I've never played a day in my life.
And all it takes is one swing. And I know Mark Sweeney's been in that situation before. I know he's a straight left-handed hitter. But still, it might just take that one swing, that one look, that one at-bat. And sometimes that at-bat could be a walk.
You know, Mark, it just battling that you're a switch hitter and doing the double of the work, that's very difficult. When you go on rehab assignments, you can't pick and choose what pitcher you're going to face. And sometimes when it's a quick rehab, you only get a certain amount of bats on one side.
And the 0-2 to Headley, and he just wraps it into center field for a hit. Oh, we've seen that a couple times or more last season. It didn't take him long to find his little groove there after bouncing out in the first. He's got us going with a hit.
We've seen Kyle Loesch break out the changeup this game. I mean, he's thrown it back-to-back times. Will Venable in particular. And Chase Headley just stays back enough and swipes at that one, sweeps at that one, breaks his bat. That bat will die happy.
That's the way you want to put him back in the rack, isn't it?
Well, if you look at his top hand, just getting on top of it and breaks the bat, that dies a soldier right there. That's not a bad feeling if you're struggling with your timing as a hitter and you know that's falling in center field. Good feeling by Chase Headley.
Here's Yonder Alonso, 1 for 1. Don't let the bottom line fool you. It was a heck of a 1 for 1, a bunt single that fooled everyone in the ballpark. This time he flips one up to third base. Gonzalez under it for the first out of the inning.
One thing about Kyle Loesch, guys, he likes to get that ball, get up on that hill, and start going at it. And as a defensive player playing behind him, tell you what, when he was signed by the Brewers, I'm telling you, these players were glad that he's wearing a Milwaukee Brewer uniform, not only because of the numbers and what he can do, but the way he works on that mound. He keeps you in the game. Doesn't lollygag around the mound, because if you lollygag, that makes you a lollygag.
That's what it does. Here's Mark Kotsay, former Brewer.
Look at that curveball for a strike, first pitch. I mean, that's usually a wipeout pitch. That's usually the hammer that you wait till later in the at-bat to get a guy.
Ron Reddicky looking on as Kyle Loesch. Been pitching well for his team in a limited number of starts this year. Hey, Mark Sweeney, I know you played too for the Brewers. It's just the wealth of experience that you have and Mark Kotsay has. You see a guy, as Mark Grant points out, in Kyle Loesch, working so quickly. What can you do as a hitter to try to reverse course and disrupt his time?
Yeah, so many times, Mike, that you want to work on your pace especially, and if that works out with the pitcher's pace, then that is good. But if it doesn't, you have to step out and make sure you're going on your own time.
Seasoned veteran versus seasoned veteran in Kotsay against Loesch here.
Kotsay's corner. Wanting to see a knock here. Ball's off the plate.
Not that we have the best vantage point from up here. It didn't look close.
Pitch number 4. Just a bit outside.
2-2 now. And Kotsay will swing through the changeup.
Well, that's some pitching right there. First pitch, hammer, Yacker, 12-6 for a strike. He gets the call off the plate, and then why not? A changeup, way out in front.
So with 2 outs, here's Chris Denorfia. He singled in the second inning, and he's come in here on a tear.
Hey, it's Harry Doyle from Major League. Doesn't he announce for the Indians?
Nice play. You have an extraordinary ability to recall movies, lines. Are you as good with song lyrics?
Tough loss for the Sons of the Cuyahoga again today.
Bob Uecker.
Post-game show brought to you by heck, I can't find it, but the heck with it.
There is nobody better. Mudcat. 1-1 to Denorfia with 2 outs. Swings, he's really feeling it. What adjustments have you seen Chris make this season?
Well, you know, we always talk about the team and struggling offensively, but Chris Denorfia has done a nice job staying in the strike zone, but also hitting where it's pitched. That is what you have to do if you're in his position.
Take what the pitcher gives you.
And you know what else, guys? I think you'd agree with me. There's no better teacher than experience. Now, Chris Denorfia's been at the big league level now with it 3 years in a row. He's been with the Padres. He feels confident. More at bats. He knows what he knows what he can do and what he can't do. There's no better teacher than experience.
3-1. He bounces this one at Gonzalez at third. He'll go across the diamond. And that'll do it for the Padres in their half of the 4th inning. Gene Segura will lead off when we come back. started to go wrong for the Padres early. Ryan Braun in the first, a 2-run home run as he's mired in what he considers a slump. Jason Marquis would hit 2 more hitters in that same inning, and Unieski Betancourt would get up and make Marquis pay with this 3-run drive. And right away out of the gate, the Brewers were up 5-0, and that's where we stand here in the top half of the 5th inning. Gene Segura, the leadoff man, stepping in. Mark Grant, Mark Sweeney, Kelly Kroll. I'm Mike Pomeranz. Dick Enberg has the night off. And Jason Marquis comes into this inning having thrown 58 pitches. And something that the team had been looking for. Jason, the only pitcher, starting pitcher, to record an out in the 7th inning of his start, pitched as well as anybody.
Boy, if they ever needed a guy to go deep, that was the night they needed it. Hey, I want to talk about the foul pole. Remember earlier that Carlos Gomez hit that ball? There's 2 parts to that foul pole. On the left, you see the corner? The 90-degree right angle? Right there. See that line there in the middle?
Yep.
This side is foul. That side is fair. So if the ball hits here and goes this way, it's definitely a foul ball. Where did that ball go to? It went that way, didn't it?
It did.
And if you notice on that foul pole, Mike, it's shaded too. There's 2 different colors on there. One side is a little darker, different hue.
Segura will walk. And Mark Sweeney, you know how my eyes are. And you know I need a bigger color differential than tan and yellow.
So let's go back to the replay, and you clearly see the ball change direction, and then the ball will dart that way. Now, if the ball hits on the right side, it's going to go that way. Now, if it hits right on the 90-degree, it's a fair ball, right? Because it hits.
It's a leaner.
It hits part of the fair pole.
But you know what I like, guys? I mean, the umpires getting together and getting the call right. You know, and that's what you want to see. And these guys have discussions. They talk about it. They already know the ground rules. But you talk about it and you get the call right. That's what you'd like to see in a baseball game.
Here's Ricky Weeks. Weeks rolled into a fielder's choice in the first, struck out in the second. And striking out has been his modus operandi so far this season. Very frustrating, not putting a duck on the pond for Ryan Braun. Hopefully he'll continue. Jason Marquis has his way with Weeks.
And what does Jason Marquis continue to do to Ricky Weeks? Sliders down and away. He laid off that last one. Fastball down here. Let's see what Jason does. Huge hole on the right side with Jerko playing towards second base.
And Segura is off with the pitch, and he is in easily ahead of Nick Hundley's throw. There's not much you could do there. He had a nice jump, very quick.
Very good jump. Looked like an off-speed pitch, too. Nick, quick release, just a high throw. And Jed Jerko straddling the bag. Watch him keep the tag on the runner just in case he comes off. The foot is still on the bag.
So with Segura at second, Weeks facing a 2-2 pitch here.
Okay, 2-2 slider, go to 3-2. You might throw him another slider here, 3-2.
You got an open bag, but you got Ryan Braun waiting.
Yep. Hey, that's the chance to take. That's the risk you take if you want to throw a breaking ball here.
He'll step off. Jerko gives him a look. Just keeping him close. Keeping him honest. '23-year-old Segura. 5 stolen bases on the season. He leads the Brewers. A full count now to Weeks.
You know, that's the beauty of a pickoff at second base. If it's a timing play, you know, the pitcher can wheel and doesn't have to throw. If he just wants to abort the play, you just step back off the rubber. When in doubt, just step back off the rubber. You can't get hurt.
Do whatever you want at that point.
If you're in contact with the rubber, you move your hands or you twitch a little bit, guess what? It's a block. You move up 90 feet. But if you don't feel it's right, you don't feel the position player there is there in time, just step back off the rubber.
Oh, that's ball 4 to Weeks. And it'll make it first and second with nobody out for Ryan Braun, who had homered a 2-run shot in the first and then struck out to lead off the third. Mark Sweeney. You know, Jason now at 71 pitches. We know he'll throw all day long if Buddy Black lets him.
Well, he'll throw it all day long, Mike, like you talked about, but you can see Jason Marquis on the mound very visibly frustrated at himself. The mechanics are definitely not there. He's not locating. He doesn't feel comfortable with his fastball command, especially.
Yeah, third time around now for Ryan Braun. Remember last time, the first pitch, two-seamer away in the first inning for the 2-run shot, and then he went breaking balls the second at-bat for the strikeout. First pitch fastball.
So, Mark Sweeney, if you're Ryan Braun and you see that you've got a veteran pitcher struggling, do you modify your approach here at all?
I don't think he feels like he's looking for that mistake, and he understands that command hasn't been there as a hitter. You want to look for that mistake, and it's almost a 2-0-3-1 approach.
Wraps this one through the left side. Segura will come around, and he will score easily. It is 6-0 Milwaukee.
So as you take a look at the 2 pitches thrown to Ryan Braun this at bat, it could have been much worse, I think. First pitch, 2-seam fastball away to Ryan Braun. Remember, this is the way he started him off last time, but that one's just on the outside corner. Look at this pitch here. Number 2 in the box. Boy, he gets on top of it, and thank goodness he drives in a run, but that could have been much worse. That was a pitch that he could have belted out of the ballpark.
So Braun, who had been mired in his version of a slump, 5 for 32, his last 32 coming into the game tonight. Got a couple of hits, a home run and the RBI single now. Jonathan Lucroy with nobody out. Weeks at second. Braun at first. "15 home runs now, Mark Sweeney, in their last 8 games the Brewers have, and they show no signs of cooling off in this one."
We talked about it earlier, having your games at Miller Park. It's a home run hitter's park. That's the confidence that they have, and when they go to a big field, they keep the same approach. That's the difference of the mentality of visiting teams coming in here versus having 81 dates and trying to understand that you have to power the ball here. Their mental capacity is hitting home runs and hitting mistakes.
Here's a 2-0 to Lucroy. Uncharacteristic of Marquis to really fight himself the way he's doing tonight.
Yeah, if a pitcher gets 33, 35 starts a year, you're not going to feel, 100% every time out. You might feel good, great, maybe 10 or 12. It's the other starts that you really got to bear down and try to find that release point on a certain pitch to make good quality pitches. But the one thing I've seen tonight, the inconsistency of the fastball.
Hey, Mark Sweeney, does it weigh on your mind when you come into the clubhouse after losing 3 of 6 on the road, particularly getting swept? Well, and you come in and you feel a little bit of pressure with that?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. And you can see the body language tonight, especially when you get behind early and you're not offensively on point. That makes it very difficult.
Again, Marquis feeling more comfortable, it seems, Mark Sweeney, with that off-speed pitch, with the slider.
Well, I think, and Mark can touch on this too, if you don't have your fastball command, you're going to have to go to something else. And his secondary pitch is that slider that he feels comfortable throwing a strike and actually looking like a strike and getting out of the zone at times.
Yeah, either the changeup, the split, or the slider. It seems like he's got that release point down on the slider. There's another one, and he hung it.
Kotsale Glove that one easily. So Lucroy is down.
You know, I think if you talk to Jason Marquis after this game, he's going to say, you know what, I was off, out of sync, not making good pitches. Not only is it, you know, the score is 6-0. We saw the 2 home runs, Betancourt and Braun, but he's gotten away with some hanging breaking balls as well. I think that one was there. And Lucroy just a little bit too quick on that hanging breaking ball. Got it on the end of the bat, and an easy fly ball to left.
So here's Logan Schaefer. Schaefer was hit by a pitch in the first, bounced out to Marquis in the third. 26-year-old from San Jose, California. Third round selection by the Brewers in 2008. He'll roll this one to Alonso. He'll look around and take it himself. But Weeks and Braun will move over, and it'll be second and third now with 2 outs for Carlos Gomez. Gomez hit in the first. That was when Betancourt would follow with the 3-run homer, and then Gomez would walk in the fourth. Comes into the game hitting .300.
Remember, he likes to turn on the fastball in the inner part of the plate. If you're going to throw something in to Gomez, you better make sure it's way in. He'll go Joe Carter on you, and he'll foul one off into the upper deck. If there's a guy who can ever turn on a fastball, and it's Joe Carter.
Gomez had 19 home runs last year. Oh, Gomez was brought up by the Twins. You know, he can still run. He plays center field, and he fancied himself a base stealer, but he's filled out so much. And he was trying to convince baseball people he was a power hitter, and now apparently he's grown into one. Takes a pitch away. And Mark Sweeney, I know he's been giving the Brewers fits, but they've been patiently waiting for him to develop.
Well, and he's gone with that leg kick. That's the choice when a lot of these hitters, you see a lot of these hitters implementing the leg kick, but just using his power stroke, but he's using his lower half very well. And you saw it on that long foul ball earlier in the fourth.
So Gomez with 2 outs, runners at second and third.
Ooh, pretty good pitch.
Jason wanted it. Home plate umpire Clint Fagan said,
Good tilt on the slider. Nick Hundley tries to stick it. Didn't get the call.
Here's the 3-1 to Gomez. And he looks at it for ball 4. Second consecutive at bat for Gomez where he has walked. Not known to be a patient hitter, but it'll bring Buddy Black to the mound. Talk things over with his right-hander. 86 pitches now tonight for Jason, and that'll do it for the 34-year-old. So down 6-0. Anthony Bass will come in, and he'll face Yuniesky Betancourt. All brought to you by Sequan Casino. Real friendly, real close. By Farmers Insurance. Contact your local agent at 888-96-FARMERS. And by the Aramco Group. Purchase, refinance, reverse. 2 outs in the Brewer half of the 5th inning. 6-0. The Brewers lead. Tough night at the office for the right-hander Jason Marquis. He gives way to Anthony Bass and Unieski Betancourt.
Yeah, tough night tonight for Jason Marquis. Just didn't have his release point down. And nobody's tougher on Jason Marquis than Jason Marquis himself. As Anthony Bass now will take the hill. Last time out against the Giants a couple of days ago, he pitched well. 2 innings, did not surrender a hit, no runs. He walked 1 Giant. Got a 6-inning scoreless streak going, but the main thing here is to leave those runners out there with 2 outs. Good slider.
Bases loaded. Tough situation for Anthony Bass. Betancourt, that 3-run homer in the 1st inning, bounced into a fielder's choice in the 4th. Weeks at 3rd, Braun at 2nd, and Gomez at 1st.
See Nick Hundley in the crouch. He wanted that pitch up, way up.
See Braun and Gomez. 3 walks and a single in the inning. And this ball skips by Hundley, can't find it, then he does, and by then it's too late as Ricky Weeks will skip home. The 7th run of the game for the Brewers, and crowd unhappy with it. Ryan Braun will move over to 3rd.
Does he try to bury a slider? Looks like it, yeah, way out in front of the plate, and it gets into the heel of the glove of Nick Hundley. Nick did everything he could to try to smother that ball, keep it in front of him, take it off the chest. Ball just crept right up the glove, off the shoulder, and back to the backstop.
Score that a wild pitch. Trouble with that one. What are you seeing down there, Mark Sweeney?
Well, just looking, guys. I mean, and you can see in the body language. You look around the infield. This is a tough time for these guys. They're trying to grind it out. It's a very difficult game when things aren't going your way, but they have to find a way to do it, and it's a tough time for the Pods right now.
Betancourt rolled to Cabrera at short, and that will finally do it for the Brewers in their half of the 5th inning. 7-0 is where we stand. Jed Jerko will lead it things off.
Pole results. Oh, Miguel Cabrera, most feared, 43%.
Shocker.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the way I would have gone. I would have gone that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. As far as 5 being, the most feared. And I think that's the way it kind of works out. So thanks for joining us on Twitter and giving your opinion. Miguel Cabrera, the most feared out of Braun, Pujols, Trout, Harper.
So as Jed Jerko leads things off against Kyle Loesch, Mark Sweeney, I know you're not surprised. You thought Cabrera would be the top vote getter there.
Hey, when you win the Triple Crown, it has to be that, the fear factor. But you also see, the last 2 guys, the rookies in last year, that's the most important thing. That's the future of baseball. These are exciting players. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, these guys are going to do some damage, and it's always nice to have one that's in the American League and also the National League.
And the experience also. Miguel Cabrera, he's been around since what, 48? I mean,
Jed Jerko flipped one into the corner there for a double.
I look at that list and I think of inexperience, and it would be maybe one of the parts of wanting to throw to those certain hitters, as Jed Jerko is out in front of one for his 4th double.
So here's Nick Hundley with Jed Jerko on second base. Hundley struck out in his only at bat in the 3rd.
You know who gave me chills was Eric Davis. Eric the Red.
Oh, he could rake. Tell me this. You remember how he used to hit with his hands low to his waist? Did you believe he could not get to the high cheese because of that?
Oh, he got the high cheese off of me.
Off about everybody, but it just fools your eye. As Hundley flips this one out in right field. There's Schaefer in foul territory, and he'll make the play. Jerko will tag easily and move over to 3rd.
There was a time when I was with the Houston Astros, and Bob Cluck, who lives here in San Diego, was our pitching coach. Reds come to the Astrodome. We have our pitchers meeting, go over the hitters. So we're going over the hitters, Sabo, Davis, Larkin. So after the meeting, Bob Cluck comes up to me, puts his arm around me, and goes, "Hey, Mud, if Eric Davis is coming up in an inning, there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to be up in our pen." And I said, "Well, why is that?" He goes, "Do you know your numbers against Davis?" I said, "No." He takes out a little piece of paper. Well, he's like 9 for 16 with 5 home runs off you. So just put your glove under your chair if he's coming up. I said, "Okay, duly noted."
He was trying to give you a shot in arbitration.
Oh.
He was trying to help you out. Here's Anthony Bass picking up the ball game for Jason Marquis. They say, Mark Sweeney, a little bit of pressure on Anthony Bass as the team has not scored in 21 innings coming into this game tonight.
Well, a lot of the fans are probably saying, well, why is Anthony Bass hitting right here? This is a short bench, guys.
That was 1 out. He'll bounce it to Segura. And Jed Jerko will score, and listen to the crowd.
Now remember, Carlos Quentin is due back tomorrow in a Padre uniform after serving his suspension. So as Mark Sweeney mentioned, Bud Black, player short, and Padres are on the board on that chopper to short.
Jed Jerko touching home plate for the first time in this Padres drought. Everett Cabrera will come up now with 2 outs. Pecking away. It's really all you can do, isn't it, Mark Sweeney?
Yeah, you know what, guys, and I wanted to make a point, too. Jed Jerko getting that leadoff double, understanding, too, he's gone through some struggles at times, some trying times, but here early before the game, taking extra batting practice, and these guys are working hard. It's there, the preparation's there. It's going to actually turn, but nice to see Jed Jerko come through, especially putting in the extra work.
That's a great point. We talk about it all the time, don't we, too, about the length of these seasons. And it's so easy to get caught up in that football season fan mentality where every week is so vital and you're out of it if things go wrong the first few weeks. But a lot of season to be played.
If you've got that football mentality in this game of baseball, you're not going to last.
No chance. Well, look what happened at the second half of last year for the Padres. And they just packed it in at the break. It's been a whole different ball game. Instead, they have a nice second half as Cabrera strikes out to end the Padre half of the fifth. 7-1 where we stand.
Of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game and hopping around like that may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres. Jump around. Well, house of pain here.
Jump up, get down. Here's Alex Gonzalez to lead off the Brewers half of the sixth inning. Gonzalez flew out to third, to Alonso at first, I should say, in the first. Bounced out in the fourth. Oh, brisk.
Yeah, it's a blanket night tonight. Got to come to the ball yard prepared. We've got a lot of beanies out there and blankets.
Wow. Bullet to left field, and Gonzalez is aboard with his first hit of the night. It's a good chance to see what's going on down on the farm. They're up to 15 in Lake Elsinore. Congratulations, Lee Orr. What a week. The California League Player of the Week. 14 for 27. That's a raking clip at 519. 3 homers, 11 ribbies, just 7 games. Keep in mind, though, Granty, he didn't have a good year in 2012. Coming off a season where he hit .211, so good for him.
Absolutely. Making adjustments, right? Another year in pro ball.
Lee Orr. Job well done.
In the California League, a good league.
IA.
Did you play in the California League?
No. Got traded on the plane on my assignment there. It was with the Twins.
What A League did you play in? The Sally League?
Played in the Midwest League. I played in the Sally League. Below that in the Appy League. But I got more on that in a moment. Let me bait you with that tease. Loesch will bunt. Alonso will go to second. And Cabrera for the first out of the inning as they'll cut down Gonzalez.
Hey, before you get to that awesome A-ball story, check out the footwork of Everett Cabrera. Remember, a force play at second base. Alonso throws it. Watch. He switches, goes across the other side of the bat, keeping that 1 foot on the bag for the force out. And some trainers coming out for the Brewers. Looking at it, Kyle Loesch.
It's like his left hand. See what happened there.
Oh, look at that. Is that dislocated? His pinky? That didn't look too good.
No, it doesn't. And he'll leave the field. He's taking a look down at it. His trainer with him.
I wonder if he got his hand in the way. That'd be his bottom hand, right? If he's bunting. He might have collided with Alonso at first base. Let's take a look.
That's Jerko there. And in his left hand catch.
Yes.
Maybe
right.
the belt loop or something.
Yeah, Jerko was covering. And his left hand clips Jed Jerko.
So Loesch will leave the game. Ron Renicky will talk things over. Home plate umpire Clint Fagan, and see what they decide to do. Well, you see a lot of fluke things happen in this game, but this is one of the stranger things. Thought maybe something happened during the bunt. It looked normal. He came out of the box, but thanks to our director, Michael Odino, playing that back for us.
You know what? He was wearing batting gloves, and it was kind of tough to see. Okay, there's the bunt. Clearly off the sweet spot of the bat. He's running. Now watch his left hand as he starts. Wow. Does he clip Jerko? He's got to, right?
Hard to tell from that angle, but it seems like that's the case.
Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, talking with Ron Renicky of the Brewers.
Get a little action in the pen then for Milwaukee, but what a peculiar occurrence.
Well, who's going to pitch run? Well, they're definitely giving Kinsler more time to warm up. I mean,
it's interesting too what the delay might be about. He's running through a few considerations.
Probably, are they going to use a pitcher to pinch run? Probably. Looks like Giovanni Gallardo going to pinch run.
Getting mileage out of their club tonight.
Hey, Gallardo might have had to go in the clubhouse and put on some nails.
Yeah, starting pitcher probably is watching the game.
Yeah, maybe he had the runners on.
Skip takes a look down there and says, "Hey, I want to burn a position player here." So here's Segura with an out, and Giovanni Gallardo at first base, pinch running.
Interesting scenario because, you know, Kinsler, you saw him get that call from the bullpen and get up quickly, right? I mean, it's not like an injury where a pitcher's out on the mound. He'll have as much time as he wants out there. He's getting hot quickly. Or whoever the pitcher might be at that certain situation, get as hot as you can because you've only got 8 tosses when you go out to the mound.
Buying him a little time. Michael Gonzalez getting loose in the Brewer pen. Splinters this one into center field, but Will Venable is there for the second out of the inning.
Look at that lawn dart.
How about that toothpick?
Remember that game of Jarts when you were a kid? Remember Jarts?
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened with that bat. And I cringe every time that happens. Just thank goodness that didn't A, go in the stands, and B, hit a player.
Now imagine that's so distracting, especially at that infield, and you see something fly. You probably initially think it's the ball, and it's a shard of the bat. So here's Ricky Weeks with 2 outs, and Gallardo, the pinch runner, at first. Weeks 0 for 2, walk into 5th, scored. Working his way through a slump, he says. Stay in a slump, say the Padres. Anthony Bass taking over for starter Jason Marquis. Marquis went 4 2/3 of an inning. 4 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. And Weeks will lift this one to the right side. Alonso out, Jerko out, but it'll be DeNorfia to retire the side. 7-1, Milwaukee on top.
1 as we hit the bottom of the 6th inning. Will Venable steps up to the plate here, and I had a chance to ask Will kind of what's going on when he gets behind the plate, looks to bat, and he says truthfully for him, he's been focused too much, he thinks, on just what's going on around him. If there's runners on, he feels like guys are putting too much pressure on themselves to get a hit and not worrying about the pitch that's coming up. So he said that is his focus here moving forward, is just being concerned with the pitch that's coming at him and not all of the other things going on around him, guys. But the pressure, I think, adding up just with the struggles behind the plate right now. So mentally, that's something they're trying to do less of.
Kelly, thanks very much. Yeah, that's a tough road to hoe. Mark Sweeney was talking about it. You were talking about it, Granty. That you make too many adjustments, you think yourself out of situations that you would otherwise feel comfortable in. And with the pressure of having not scored in 21 innings going into this game, guys are looking for answers.
The last thing that you want is to put all the pressure on yourself and feel that you have to do it yourself. Rally, start with a walk. Hey, rally, start with a home run as well. It's going to be tough to catch up as we're running out of time. 7-1 Brewers. And tough left-hander Michael Gonzalez. Right now the numbers don't look too good with the ERA, but from the left side, he's got pretty good stuff. And as a reliever, if you don't start off well, the numbers will escalate. Too many walks in 4 2/3 innings.
Now, Redicky only has 2 left-handers in his pen.
For Gonzalez, a fastball, slider, change, and a curveball. 87-91 on that heater.
So Gonzalez picking up where Kyle Loesch left off.
And think about this for Ron Renicky. If you've got a 7-1 lead in the 6th inning, why not put a guy in there who might need a couple innings to work something out?
You're not going to get too many easy innings in the major leagues, Mark, as you know. And I guess if you're going to call them mop-up innings, because the Padres still with plenty of time left in the ball game to come back. But
hey, to me, there was never a mop-up inning. It was like,
I bet.
You got to take advantage of it.
Hey, you're earning your salary every time you're out there. And the Brewers come in here riding a 7-game winning streak as Venable will roll this one to Betancourt at first. Hey, fans, try to be at Petco Park when your Padres take on the San Francisco Giants Friday, April 26th, 7:10. Stay after the game, celebrate the music of the Beatles with this spectacular fireworks show. It's presented by our friends at Cooper Tires. Be sure to buy early and save at Padres.com or go ahead and call 619-795-5555.
That's what it used to look like when I pitched.
Fireworks?
Yeah.
Hey, you got a lot.
Hey, many uses for the foam number 1.
Pointing at Chase. Chase had a hit in the 4th last time up. Careful with the foam finger. Put your eye out with that.
Put an eye out.
Headley laces this one to center field. Gomez coming on, makes a nice running catch. 2 are out.
Good jump. Good jump by Carlos Gomez. One of the toughest plays for an outfielder is have that line drive hit right at you. Kind of a big swing from Headley as you take a look, right? But it's off the end of the bat, so it's almost like a changeup off the bat. And Gonzalez likes it. Gives him the old fist pump after squeezing that one for the out.
Gomez can go get him. That'll bring up Yonder Alonso. First ball hunting. Fouls it away. Alonso with a bunt single in the 2nd. Popped up to 3rd in the 4th. The souvenir. Makes it fastball. Fall behind 0-2. Bounces this one back up the box. It'll be the shortstop, Segura. And that's the side for the Padres in the 6th. 3 up, 3 down. Ryan Braun will lead things off when we come back.
7th, and the Padres trail to the Brewers 7-1. I'm Laura McKeeman, and that's Mark Sweeney. We're coming at you from our Padres Live set and previewing Padres Live, the postgame. Well, it all started in the first inning. The damage done there. Jason Marquis struggling tonight.
Well, I think Ryan Braun likes Petco Park, and he's proven that. Unfortunately, this is not the Padres start that exactly they wanted. Betancourt hitting a bomb, a 3-run bomb in the first. Not the way the Padres wanted to start tonight.
Well, we'll have all that and more coming your way on Padres Live, the postgame. Mike and Mark, not a great start there for Jason Marquis, but he was able to make a couple of adjustments against Braun.
I think you're right, Laura, and I think that's part of what you need to do, right, Mark, at this level is if you're going to struggle, try to stay in the game, give your team a shot, give your team some innings so you don't get into that bullpen too soon, and Anthony Bass has been picking up the slack for the Padres. Here's Ryan Braun.
Nice slider right there, but you know what, though, the adjustment didn't come soon enough, and Jason Marquis would probably be the first one to mention that. Remember the LA game? He had streaks of 6 in a row. He retired 10 in a row. Well, after the home run, he retired 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good slider from Anthony Bass. Now remember, Anthony Bass throws harder than Jason Marquis. Pitch by pitch. First pitch looked like an off-speed pitch. Fouls it. Uno. Slider. Dos. Slider. Adios. And our good friends at Southland Technology bringing you the Fox tracks gives you an idea where Anthony Bass is throwing that baseball.
Dan Abrams and his buddies over there at Southland doing a great job. Here's Jonathan Lucroy, 0 for 3 on the night, hitting .246. And Lucroy will roll this one to Chase. 2 down.
Now, I don't know whether it was the nastiness of Anthony Bass or whatever, or the score 7-1, but it just, when I look at an intensity level of a hitter or something, kind of, he looked overmatched. Ryan Braun, that at bat, didn't he?
Well, he has, by his estimation, he's been in a slump, right? He comes into the game, he's hitting .280. We talked about it at the open of the show. Comes in 5 for his last 32. So, by his own admission, he says, I'm not locked in. I mean, granted, for most major league hitters, you would take that as not being locked in. So maybe he's just off, but whatever he's doing, his 5 hits, and he had in those 32 at bats, you talked about it, 4 of those were home runs, and he homers again tonight. I don't know if it's just getting, the one pitch, one spot where he's still hot. That's what he found, or what?
I'm not saying he gave up the at-bat by any means. I'm just saying with the stuff of Anthony Bass there, 1, 2, 3, he just looked overmatched, and that's a good sign for Anthony Bass.
I don't think there's been any question in this organization that Anthony's got great stuff. And I remember the game that Anthony pitched last year in San Francisco against Tim Lincecum, where it was Lincecum who broke up his bid for a no-hitter.
Right. Yep.
I mean, you're shutting down the Giants in their World Series year. You've got to have pretty good stuff, I'd imagine. And Logan Schaefer, the hitter, he was hit by a pitch in the first. He was on base when Betancourt hit the 3-run homer. And he bounced out to the mound and Yonder Alonso.
Well, he's got a tight slider. Man, good tilt to it.
He's an interesting guy, Bass, for this team, I think, because as you had pointed out so many times, Mark, he's so versatile. He can start. He can go long in the pen. He might even be able to do a little short work for you.
I think in the long run, Anthony Bass would love to be a starter. I think all pitchers with an arm like that would love to be a starter.
And Alonso will take it himself. And that'll do it for the Brewers in the 7th. But they lead this one 7-1. Padres with time. Baseball, brought to you by Petco, where the healthy pets go. And by Mercury Insurance. Get a quote, get 2 free Padres tickets at mercuryinsurance.com/Padres. Here's Mark Kotsay to lead things off for San Diego in the bottom of the 7th, down 7-1. Kotsay getting the start in left field against Kyle Loesch, who's left the game with appears to be a hand injury.
You love Kotsay's corner. Big fans out there.
And Kotsay will swing through strike 3.
Say How can you not like Mark Kotsay?
One of the nicest men in the game, and we've been very lucky.
Accountable too,
right? To meet so many good guys. I mean, I don't just say this because you're sitting next to me, but you and Mark Sweeney are just like that. 2 easygoing fellas. 2 real good guys. Mark Kotsay just like that. Jason Marquis just like that. So the Brewers are going to make a change here. And that'll do it for Gonzalez. It'll be Brandon Kinsler getting the call. Back with more in a moment, Kristen Orphy. Take a look at the Subway in-game box score for you. Not a lot of crooked numbers in there, Mark Grant, as the Padres look to try to get something going here as Kristen Orphy will take the batter's box. But boy, oh boy, have the offensive struggles continued for this team.
Yeah, tough go around. Started early playing catch up. Hey, sometimes easy can be upside down. It's not as easy as it looks.
Never is. Brandon Kinsler, the new pitcher for the Brewers.
Playing catch-up is no fun for any team, and when you only have 1 extra base hit in 5 of them tonight, it's tough to put runs up. So Kinsler, fastball, slider, and a change. Kind of over the top, kind of a short armor too, Mike, as you take a look at his numbers. Pretty decent numbers for the right-hander. Hey, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk in 7 innings. Very impressive. Well, you can see where he's tough to hit. He kind of, big arm swing out of the glove, but then kind of shortens it up by his head. When a pitcher comes out of the glove this way, that's fine. But when he comes up here, a lot of guys get the arm swing here so you can see the ball.
Sure.
Kinsler comes here, and then it's like here, and then bang. And that's tough to catch up. Tough to catch out of the hand.
Yeah.
Of the pitcher, almost like a Chris Young.
Mark Sweeney just made that point the other day with Tim Lincecum. Some of these guys are so good at being deceptive that when you lose a little bit, in the case of Lincecum, maybe a couple miles off the fastball, you can see how deceptive he is.
Now watch when he brings the ball up. The ball's going to right there. See how he kind of brings it up towards his head there?
Sure.
So that the ball is actually hidden right behind his head. And then all of a sudden, bang, it's on top of you.
And he will punch out Denorfia for the second out of the inning. See if that deception paid off there for Kinsler.
Yeah, this will give you a general idea what you're looking at. Watch behind his cap. See how that ball just comes right out of the back of his cap. And 93 on the velocity isn't bad either.
Jed Jerko fouls off the first pitch. He doubled and scored the Padres' only run in the 5th inning. Popped up to second in the 2nd inning. You know, Mark, one of the interesting things too about Kinsler, I'm looking.
He's a Scorpio.
His notes. He is a Scorpio, which not a lot of people are. Those who are, thanks for joining us. His contract was purchased from the Independent League, the St. Paul Saints.
Love that.
Don't you, though?
I love stories like that. Joe Thatcher.
The list isn't long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing just to get a shot to play with the affiliated clubs, but to make it to the big leagues. You see Joe Thatcher get loose, one of those guys.
Well, I want to apologize to the Kinsler family. He's not a Scorpio. He's a Leo. August 1st, 1984. And boy, am I old. I was 20 in 1984 when Brandon Kinsler was brought into this world.
Giving yourself away, my friend. And that'll do it for the Padres in their half of the 7th inning. Kinsler comes in and strikes out the side. A couple of days ago against the Cubs, first and second, Segura takes off for third but gets picked off. Ryan Braun, as you see, sneaks in behind him, so the Cubbies go ahead and they tag both guys, and that's when it gets goofy because Segura is not called out in this case. He goes to first and stays there. It's Braun who is called out. He's unsure. He does what everybody's taught to do, right, is follow the lead runner.
Right.
And because the rule is, you know, Segura is not in a situation where he's being forced.
Right.
He is entitled to retreat back to his original base, which in this case was second base. Try figuring this one out.
Yeah, well, I think the lead voice of the Brewers TV, Brian Anderson, said it best. Said Segura stole first base. Right?
Yeah, you take another look at it. You can see, too, where the umpires missed something here. To watch Segura actually takes his foot off the bag. He's tagged again right there. But they don't see that. So he goes back, and you can hear his coach yelling, get over there.
Garth Orge is the first base coach, and he says, hey, stay put right there.
Here's Carlos Gomez. And a nice try by Chris Denorfia. But he comes up empty. Denorfia is such a gamer.
Doesn't matter if the score is 1-1 or 7-1. Chris Denorfia is going to give it his all. That's a long run for the Padre right fielder. And you know what? It's no fun diving on that crushed rock either.
Well, there are a lot of guys in any league who might pull up down 7-1.
Sure.
Just let that one go, but not Dino. As Carlos Gomez been on base all 3 times, hit by a pitch in the first and a couple of walks. So just to sew up that point on that Segura play that we saw there. So Segura gets back to first base. Braun is then called out. So Segura then goes
to try to steal second base
a second time in the inning. And he gets rung up and thrown out.
Boy, what an inning.
A bouncing ball to Headley. Down. Put on your specs and read this one.
Hey, if a runner touches an unoccupied base and then thinks the ball was caught or is decoyed into returning to the base, you lost me already. He last touched. He may be put out running back to that base. But if he reaches the previously occupied base safely, he cannot be put out while in contact with the base path. It's all Greek to me.
I'm sorry, did you say something? No, that's how convoluted the ruling was. And really, you know, the umpires are there left to sort this out, and they're being, you know, approached by the managers who are arguing, and they're not even certain that they're arguing the point correctly. I read in the paper later. As Betancourt will flip this one out to Denorfia for the second out of the inning.
You know, that's why, seriously, if you're into reading and reading difficult stuff, I mean, the rule book is tough to, I mean, it takes a lot to understand what's going on in that book.
You know, it'd be nice. They had a great seminar for all the broadcasters and even open it up to the fans. Off season, sometime in the winter. Explain the rule book. Take questions.
I carry the rule book with me all the time. And whenever I'm bored, I'm serious. I just kind of look through it. And I'll be quite honest with you. Some of these scenarios are tough to figure out.
I think that's one of the toughest.
And think the umpires, you know, when they go to umpire school, it's not just ball, strike, out, safe.
That's the easy part.
I mean, they've got to take a written test, and they've got to know every situation, and they've got to make that decision, that split decision right then and there.
Got to be authoritative about it, accurate first. As Alex Gonzalez will squib this one to Alonso. That will do it. And the Brewers half of the 8th inning. When we come back, Nick Hundley will lead off.
Back to that A-ball story.
Oh, I got it for you coming up. This week, 3 great matchups as the NL East leading Braves head to Detroit, take on Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers, or the Phillies battle the Mets or the Reds Nationals. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Chevrolet returns this week at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time as we welcome you back to Petco Park at the bottom of the 8th inning. The Brewers lead this one 7-1. Alfredo Figueroa.
That was too easy.
It was an easy setup.
I actually was going to leave that one alone.
No, you weren't. Man, I jumped in there.
Yeah.
Mark Grant, Mike Pomeranz, Kelly Kroll with you. Here's Blake Lally taking over at first base. Mr. Figueroa, right-hander, the new pitcher for the Brewers. Nick Hundley will lead things off. Nick struck out in the third, flew out in the fourth.
Unieski Betancourt now at third base for the Brewers. And Figueroa on the mound, a fastball slider, curveball change. Power arm from the right side. 91 to 97 on that fastball.
So back to that A-ball story.
Yeah, please.
There I was.
I'm on the edge of my seat. We're at Whiskey Rapids.
One down.
Where were you? A-ball? Florida State League?
I was on the plane.
You traveled by plane in A-ball?
Plane was wild that day, my friend. It was a dark day, as I remember. No, I was actually just getting assigned from spring training, sent out to Visalia with the Twins.
Visalia Oaks. Right?
Visalia Oaks. And back in the, I'm older than you might imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I land in Fresno. We take the bus to Visalia. I get to Visalia. I look around the clubhouse. I'm looking for Pomeranz over the lockers. Nowhere to be found. I'm in a white-hot panic as Alexi Amarista pinch hits and drives a single through the right side. So I'm in a panic.
Why are you in a panic?
Because I can't find a locker, and I'm all the way out in Visalia, California. 21 or 22 years old. I have nowhere to go.
Did you check the shower?
Checked the shower. Checked everywhere. Get a tap on the back of my shoulder. Skip wants to see it.
Oh, already?
How about it? How would I could do anything wrong? We haven't even started the year yet. Am I that bad? It turns out I am that bad. I got traded while we were on the plane, long before cell phones and Twitter and the whole bit. Get back on a plane. I'm traded to Pittsburgh. I go to big league camp because they're still finishing up.
Bradenton?
Bradenton.
Beautiful.
You bet. And get to the airport. Payphone. Payphone, mind you. Call mom. Hey, Mom. I don't need to hear it. I watch ESPN. I saw what happened.
Who'd you get traded for? That's the big question.
Junior Ortiz.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, what happened was the Twins,
pretty good player.
Tim Laudner, the regular catcher, retired unexpectedly in spring training that year. They were afraid to break camp without a regular big league catcher. So I was traded to Pittsburgh for Junior Ortiz.
And then you report with the Buccos, and where did they send you?
That was the beginning of my demise.
Where did you go for the summer?
Well, they sent me to Buffalo for about an hour and a half, and then they sent me down
Buffalo's
to A-ball.
AAA, right?
Yeah, but I didn't stick for longer than an hour. Had myself a few outings, big league camp. Thought that I might have a little talent. I was quickly proved otherwise.
Hey, but you had a taste of the big league life in spring training. And that's not many things, or many people can say that.
You know what, all kidding aside, by far the highlight of the limited career I had. And it was so exciting just to get a chance to meet the guys. Jim Leland was the manager in Pittsburgh at the time.
But what year was that,
exciting.
Mike?
It was 90.
Okay, so that was right. Those were good teams.
They were very good that year. They went to the playoffs, and that was the year Tim Wakefield, who was my roommate, came up and was the white-hot prospect in September. I think it was 9-1 at the back end of the year, and the team went to the playoffs. But Figueroa with a cricket pitch there to Cabrera.
Cricket pitch. Good call. Trying to get a wicket there?
I threw a few of those in A-ball. A wicket. Nicely done. So Cabrera has struck out twice, walked, stole a bag. And Alexi Amarista is on first base with one away. Alfredo Figueroa for the Brewers here. 7-1 game.
Now, when you were released, did you want to still give it a go, or did you think that, you know what, I might try to choose another career path?
You know what? When I was done, I was done. I'd had shoulder surgery when I was in the Cubs organization. And, I wasn't like you at the big mid-90s fastball. I was a left-handed pitcher. Even healthy, I was throwing 89, 91, and left what I had left of the fastball on an operating table in Chicago, and I really had nothing. So when I was released, the timing of it worked out well. I was able to go back to school and finish my degree.
Good for you.
And it was done. You know how it is. When you're no longer competitive, it's not as much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that it matters what level that happens to you at. It's hard to go out there knowing you're going to struggle.
Yep.
And you lose the enjoyment for it. And I've never lost the enjoyment as a fan, but as a player, it wasn't fun anymore. Thank you for indulging me, by the way.
No, you know what? I love the minor league stories. The bus rides. And I mean, the friendships. You know what? I had better friends in the minor leagues than I did the big leagues.
What's that?
Tighter knit. You know, I had my friends in the big leagues that I hung out with and was, became good friends with. But I've got some great friends that still I keep in touch with today. How you doing? That we, exchange Christmas cards and call each other and yuck it up for about an hour on the phone. Think about it. You traveled in packs in the minor leagues, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody hung around together.
Well, you kind of, you're in it together, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're all working toward the common goal.
You're all
Everybody wants
making the same money, basically.
Yep. There are very few egos down there because I don't know of anything more humbling than, like you had said, bus rides around the Appalachian League.
Yeah.
And there's no glitz and glamour at that level at all. Of course, when you and I played, too, that was before the days of many of the multi-million-dollar signing bonuses. Will Venable with 2 outs. Hooks this one foul. Boy, it'd be nice for the Padres just to get a little something going here in the end. And if you can't come all the way back tonight, and there's still time to do that, I feel like you get a little mojo going into the next game.
It gets back to what Mark Sweeney was talking about earlier, not giving away at bats. Hey, this one might stay 7-1, but you know what? You can't give away at bats. You want to try to carry over to the next night.
And Will Venable does just that. Does not give away the at bat. A single, and Alexi Amarista will move over to third. And just a reminder, tomorrow, Clayton Richard, the big left-hander, is going to take the mound against a pinch runner tonight, Giovanni Gallardo. So we see you for Padres Live at 6:30. Clayton had some flu-like symptoms, unable to go in his regular turn in San Francisco, but we are told he's feeling better, and he will go tomorrow. Gallardo against Richards. Game 2 of this 3-game set. That's tomorrow at 6:30 in the evening. And Nick Enberg will be back for the call in that one. You know he's watching tonight and taking notes.
Getting ready for pick to stick tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you this. Having the good fortune to travel with the team and you guys last season, Mark Sweeney and I were able to do that as a pre- and post-game shows were done on the road. I learned so much sitting next to Dick Enberg.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody prepares harder and more than he does. And he's got a resume that, look, nobody wants to mail it in ever, but if anybody had earned that right.
It's good.
Right?
Yep.
42 NFL seasons.
Yep.
I mean, the list of accomplishments is huge. And he doesn't have to be as giving as he is. And he helps you along, answers any questions, coaches you up. Here's Chase Headley.
And one of these days, I'm going to take all his pocket squares away from him.
You've got a pretty nice collection
Put
yourself there,
him in my drawer at home.
Two of you guys are Natalie clad. With the dictionary.
Hey, a 3-run shot here. 7-4.
And Figueroa will strike out Chase Headley, and that'll do it for the Padres in their half of the 8th inning. A home run, 3 RBIs, and coming into this game, he said he was in a slump. So Ryan Braun beginning to heat up for the Brewers. Lee Carl's Jr. star of the game as Joe Thatcher takes the mound for the Padres.
Well, like hitters, Mike, not giving away at bats. We mentioned also how pitchers cannot give away innings. Joe Thatcher gets an inning of work, hopefully to bring those numbers down. Opponent's hitting .435 off of Joe. He'll have 9-1-2 for the Brewers here in the top of the 9th.
Boy, tough night for the Padres. You give up the 7 runs, Mark. You do it on just the 5 hits, and those 2 crushing home runs in the first inning, really the story.
You know, we talk about Ryan Braun and being in a slump, as in his words, right? And Jason Marquis started this one and just couldn't get the release point down. Didn't have the location. He started him off with a 2-seam fastball away, didn't get it out there enough, and Ryan Braun turned on it. And after that first inning, Jason settled down a little bit. And it's tough to play catch up. I mean, let's just face it.
Yeah, they see the Padres there with 7 hits to the Brewers 5, but that column counts for nothing. As Blake Lally, the new Brewer hitter.
Well, 2 swings as you look at the Bernie Brewer hat. Nice. Lanny McDonald, Calgary Flames.
Nobody better at the obscure reference.
Look out now. Look out.
Nice effort by Chase. It falls into the stands, though, and Lally will live to swing another day.
When you look at the first inning, 2 swings, 5 runs, right? The 2-run shot by Braun and the 3-run shot by Uni Betancourt, as Chase Headley kind of touching, feeling, don't get hurt.
Remember Headley coming back with that thumb injury. It's his left hand, it's glove hand. He was saying a few days ago that that's really where he still, if he felt it at all, it was then, fielding. Not so much when he was hitting. It makes sense, really, because you can't control necessarily every time where the ball hits you in the pocket, whether it hits you off the finger, and playing the hot corner where it's all reaction. Sometimes you're just stabbing at the ball. Makes sense. He seems to be doing pretty well.
Hey, nice job by Anthony Bass tonight in relief. 3 1/3, 1 hit. He struck out 1. He kept the Brewers at 7.
It's really all you can do in that role. Now the Padres just looking for a little more consistency out of the rotation and had a much better week, as we talked about in the open, Mark. The first few weeks of the season, the rotation really had some difficulty, but it thrown much better over the last week. And Jason Marquis, a big part of that. Hopefully Corey Lukey is back to help stabilize that rotation soon. And then tonight just ran into a little bit of trouble as Jason Marquis did everything he could to make those adjustments, and in the end, those 2 big blasts in the first, just enough. And Andrew Kashner also right there at the ready. Anthony Bash. You got a couple of guys who are potential major league starters, have started in the big leagues. They're now your long men.
And power arms, too. Kashner, Lukey, I mean, if he comes back healthy, I mean, that's a power arm from the left side.
And don't forget Tyson Ross, who had earned that 5th spot as Lally goes down swinging. Strikeout for Thatcher.
Well, earlier today, Corey Lukey had his workout gear on and playing a little long toss, trying to get that wing back into throwing order. And you know what? It's a long process. You don't want to rush that. You don't want to have a setback. A lot of guys have setbacks too.
I think that's to be expected from what I've heard about folks who have had the Tommy John. The pitchers will say all the time they feel good for a couple of throwing sessions, and it's not necessarily anything major that's the setback, but it's just all of a sudden you're aware of it. You feel it. And so you take a few days off and then you start again. And from what you hear, it's part of the process.
You always hear of like breaking down scar tissue or whatever the case may be. majority of the time I've talked to pitchers that have had that surgery, they say they bounce back stronger than ever.
What a difference in what surgeons have been able to do over the last decade. I mean, that was a career ender years ago. Kelly Kroll, I think you've picked up a few things as it pertains to Corey Luebke, haven't you?
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Corey a couple weeks ago when he first started getting back out to the long toss. And part of the reason with him was that he wasn't sure how you were supposed to feel. This is the first time he had gone through that surgery. And I think that's what a lot of pitchers run into when they have the Tommy John surgery, is that as they recover, they're not really sure what it's supposed to feel like. And he felt a little tweak in that elbow area when he started getting to that point, and that's when they pulled him back there just after spring training and kind of said, you know what, we'll take this a little bit slower. So it's something new to them when they first have that surgery.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm sure that Corey Luebke was on the horn talking to either his agent or friends of his who had had that before. Hey, what can I expect?
Gene Segura flares that one to Jerko. 2 down.
I remember having shoulder surgery. You had shoulder surgery,
I did.
Correct? I mean, there comes a point in time when you've got to get up on that hill and you've got to jump that hurdle to where you let it go. I mean, here it is, all out, and you're anticipating, okay, is it going to hurt? Is something going to pop? And then you have to throw that curveball or you have to throw that slider. That's a big hurdle to jump over.
For you, did it take longer than you expected to be able to release that fear?
Yes. I had a labrum tear in my shoulder, May of '91. And I was out the whole year. Didn't come back till the next spring.
That's a cartilage, right? That lines the.
It's kind of like a yes, in your shoulder. Yep.
Well, you had an unbelievable arm, and I mean, we talk to scouts still all the time. You can get a high school kid the way you were, thrown in the mid-90s. I mean, you're a top 10 first-round pick for a reason, but when you rely on a fastball like that, you have the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
It's got to shake you to your foundation because that's your number one.
Yeah, I was healthy until I was like 28 years old. 28? I'm losing track already.
You think that through as Ricky Weeks punches out to end the Brewer half of the ninth. Last licks for the Padres. Coming up. Bottom of the ninth inning right now. Yonder Alonso will lead things off and ground Ricky Weeks over to Blake Lally for the first out of the ninth as the Padres trail by 6. It has been tough sledding for the Padres. The Brewers exploding in the first. 3 hits. 2 of them, though, were home runs, a 2-run shot and a 3-run shot. And right out of the gate, Brewers were up 5-zip.
Yeah, uncharacteristic in that first inning, Mike, talking about the hit batsman for the Brewers. Two pitches in a row. Logan Schaefer and then Carlos Gomez hit by pitch, and then the 3-run shot off the bat of Uni Betancourt. And it was tough to play catch up ever since.
Oh, Lally to Figaro. And Figaro can't glove it. So Mark Kotze is aboard. A little bit behind him, Mark.
Well, the one thing I look at is when you look at Lally, I think he shouldn't have been in that play. I think he was a little over aggressive getting that baseball, because when you look at Weeks, that was a ground ball to Weeks. Well, since Lally got it, he's got to throw across his body. He does not lead Figaro, and that leads to the throwing error.
Lally will pick up the error.
Threw a lollipop.
Yes, he did. Knew you were going to go there. So predictable. Here's Kristen Orfia.
I admit it's a tired act.
Oh, we love the act. Are you kidding me?
I'll be the first to admit.
It's not an act either. See you spending hours writing that material on the planes, sitting in your room. Lollipop. I think I'll use lollipop.
Well, the given one is what? Lollygagger, right?
Too easy. And Sweeney wouldn't take that one. That's what makes you unique.
But you know what you can't do is, I mean, you love the aggressiveness of a first baseman, of a kid trying to make the play, right? But that's something through a learning process that when you know the way the defense is set up. Ricky Weeks, that was a ground ball to Ricky Weeks.
Nasty pitch to Kristen Orfia as he'll go down on strikes. And with 2 outs, that'll bring up the rookie Jed Jerko. Jerko, a double, and scored the only run of the night for the Padres. That coming back in the 5th inning. Popped up to second and struck out in the 7th. Sounded like a broken bat, but it's going to find its way over Segura's head. It'll fall for a hit. Kotze will move around third base, so the Padres may be in business here with runners at the corners. Try to scoop up a little optimism here late. Come on. This game isn't over. Haven't heard anybody singing yet. You know what, though, on a serious note, though, Mark, it's got to add a little bit to your confidence. If you can put something on the board here, you got a whole series to play. Think about it when you get in the clubhouse and say, all right, you know what? Kyle Loesch was tough tonight.
Right.
Found a way to put something together late. Maybe pick it up starting tomorrow.
Hey, you know what? When I remember a game back at Qualcomm when Rob Nen was on the mound for the Giants. The Padres were down. You got one of the better closers in baseball at the time on the mound. And came back and won the game. I'm not saying it's going to happen here. You got to give him a chance, absolutely.
Nick Hundley with 2 on, 2 out. And Nick's had a nice start to his season. Comes in tonight, 320. A little tough sledding tonight. See just the frustration, I'm sure, there, buddy. Pitcher coach Darren Balsley. Jesus Guzman waiting on deck. Should make Hundley keep things going. Kotze at third, Jerko at first. 1-1 with 2 outs to Hundley. Two strikes, 2 outs. If Nick can keep things going for San Diego. Pitch evens the count. 2-2. Oh, just a bullet foul. Tough too, Mark, when you're looking at the top line and you see the Brewers scored 7 runs on the 5 hits and committing an error. And the Padres out-hit him with 8 hits, just the 1 run to show for it.
And those 5 hits, as I mentioned a little bit ago, 2 of those swings produced 5 runs.
Braun and Betancourt, the offensive stars, as Hundley bounces this one to Weeks, and will pump and make the throw to Lally, and that will do it for the Padres in the 9th. 7-1 is the final score. And Padres Live, brought to you by Cox, is right around the corner. Or McKeeman, what's on tap?
Well, thank you, Mike, and we will break down Ryan Braun's big night. We'll also hear from Bud Black, and we'll take a trip around the Major League.